Hello again, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm with Grimtastic Baits. Going to be doing another rating of one of the molds that I use to actually produce baits that I do sell. Today we are on the final of the Preybait, the Epic Baits Preybait. This is the 3-inch Preybait. Looking at it, you can tell it's an older one. It's been around a while. It's just got the marling symbol there and the Epic Bait symbol there. It is a 3-cavity mold. Starting right off the bat, I am not affiliated with anybody. I do not get any money. I do not get any free molds. These are just a no BS review of the molds, as you guys are probably all used to. So getting right down to it, we're going to look at this thing first off as the cost, as we always do. This mold is a 3-cavity, and it comes out to be, it's $160 for 3-cavity. So if we break that down, they're about $53 per cavity. Not great for the size. I would actually expect maybe 110, maybe 120. 160 really does push it on this one. So because of that, I'm going to give it a 7 for the cost. I don't have anything else that I can find that really simulates this mold. It's one in its own right. It is, it's a Preybait. And, I've gone through all the Preybaits that I have, which is the 1.7, the 2.7, now the 3, the 4.1, and the 5.6. The reason I do them is because I do feel that each one of them is very unique as far as what it has to offer. This one is probably the most unique of the 3 because of the fact that there's no hook slot in it, and it's got a head, but it doesn't have an indented eye. So I'm already kind of jumping into the design of it, which is the next thing I rate as usual. So 3 inches overall, 3 cavities. It is a cross between the 2.3 inch and the 4.1 inch. And as discussed, it's the first one in this size that has the head but doesn't have an indented eye in it. I really kind of wished it would have had an indented eye. I know that it costs more money and a lot of people don't want to put eyes into their stuff or they don't think it makes a difference, but for me, I really would have liked to have seen that. I also would have liked to have seen a hook slot. Now, a lot of people are like, well, why are you going to use a hook slot? Most people just use a jig head in it. I think it's the company is BKK actually has swim bait hooks that this would go with beautifully in like a number 1 or a 1/0 size. They're very small but would work so well with this just to keep it weedless and you don't have an exposed hook. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So I mean, it is your standard trash tail as you usually see. It has the 2 fins. So we got top fin, bottom fin, trash tail, and it does use, like I mentioned, jig heads. I usually use about an 1/8 ounce size. I was messing around with an extended shank jig hook, but it's very difficult to rig like that, and since the shank goes all the way back, it really cuts down on a lot of the action of the bait. So I stopped doing that. Just your standard shank 1/8 actually works really well with this. Jumping back on design, I really wish that and that would have possibly been areas for a screw and a wing nut, or a bolt and a wing nut. You know how I'm adamant about that. I just wished we had that option, especially with a bait that is this small. There was really no reason they couldn't do that. I'm kind of disappointed in that, but overall design, it is unique, one of a kind, and I gotta tell you, it catches fish. It's remarkable. This thing swims in the water. It does have a little bit of a side-by-side motion along with the tail kick. So, I mean, I love it. I mean, I have caught many fish on it, from clear down to crappie, smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, sawguy. This little guy is a killer. So overall design, I'm going to give it a fairly high score. Even though it's missing some things I'd like to see, I'm giving it a score of an 8. moving into versatility of the bait. Singles, doubles, as you see here. It does shoot a very nice, I'm botched a little bit there, but a very nice double. I have no complaints with that at all. And again, triples, a very, very nice triple. This, of course, my standard colors that I use for demo only. I just use the orange bottom, Junebug middle, and kind of a Morning Dawn top. I shot them all. I don't know if anybody noticed this, but I shot all the baits that I have in one day with the exact same color from the exact same plastisol and everything to give it a very fair review on what these molds can do. So, versatility, there's no core shots, there's no hook slots, nothing like that. You know, but overall, it's a little above average, so we're going to go ahead and give that a score of a 7. As far as use, it is very easy to use. It really never fails unless you do one thing, and that's pull up on the injector too quick, or I should say not too quick, but too slow. If you pull on the injector too late and that plastisol started sitting, it can pull that sprue out, and it will suck up plastic with it, and you'll end up with a hollow head. That does happen, but that can happen with pretty much any bait. So just careful with it's such a small mold that does happen. Speaking of small, something else to be very careful of, because it is so small, and you probably have clamps hanging off and stuff. This mold does tip very easy. There's not a lot of foot to it. So when you are shooting, be very careful with that and keep that in mind, because it does tip easily. I've tipped it more than once. I could probably count the number, probably half a dozen times that I've had it tip on me, and luckily I've been wearing gloves and moved quick enough that nothing bad happened. So, as usual, about 320 degrees will get you a really good shot. Just, again, with all these prey baits, shoot slow and inject, and it does help if you keep injecting as you lift. That will actually keep you from getting those hollow heads. The sprue is a good length. It allows it to drink enough that it does fill up anything there in the body. I mean, it's going to happen even if the mold's hot. It's still going to drink a little. That's just normal as it vents the air out. So as far as the use, I'm gonna give it a 9. It's very, very easy to use, very easy to get doubles and triples out of, and of course you're going to be doing your standards. I haven't experimented with yet, but I was kicking around possibly trying a core shot with these, so I may do a video on that later down the road. So again, use, going to give that a 9. Now the appeal, this is where unfortunately this mold I should say, is gonna take a hit. I never see any of these being sold on the secondary market. I even asked one time when I thought, I want to see how many of these I can crank out and see if there's a bait store that wants them or something along those lines, or getting ready for a show where I wanted to make sure I had plenty of stock. So I was looking for a second one on the secondary market. I wasn't about to pay another $160 for another one new. So I posted on all the groups. I got no response. Like, I don't know if nobody had them or if nobody wanted to get rid of them. I don't know. But to go along with that, I don't see many people selling the mold. Not just selling the mold. I don't even see anybody selling the baits from this mold. I might be one of the only guys doing it. I'm not sure why. The only thing I can think of is it's probably because there are a lot of ring swim baits and Kitech knockoffs that probably have more appeal in this size, and so that's probably what's kind of hitting this one hard. And when you look at it on the Epic Bait Molds website, on the Epic list on marling baits, it's about halfway down on the list, and it's higher on the list for the overall swim baits for the Epic Bait Molds site, but it's not up there as a bestseller or anything like that. So even though personally for me, it catches fish, it does a great job. I don't know why people haven't caught on to it. All you need is a ball jig head on it. Maybe it's the fact is, it kind of bothers me too that you have a head on the bait, but then you have another jig head on the bait. I'm not sure if maybe they would have benefited by cutting it down to that size and extending it to make it a 3-inch, so you could use your own swim bait head on it. Or if there would have been a hook slot in there, and you could use it as a, use a swim bait hook on it. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But it does a great job. It really does. Just changing out the weights allows you to change the speed and the depth that you want to fish the bait at. So it's very versatile as far as that's concerned. So far, unfortunately, I got to give it a 6 on the appeal. Just because there's not a lot, like I say, there's not a lot on the secondary. I don't see people asking for them besides me, not getting any responses. So overall, I'm going to give it a 6, which I know hurts. I like the mold. I just don't like the price, if you know what I mean. That's another thing, is the price. And if you notice here, mine is less than perfect. They, Marling and Epic Baits, Jason, decided to do a video saying, can you pour a resin bait and will it wreck your mold? And they said no. So I tried it because I thought, you know what, that'd be pretty cool to make some colored ones and have them a hook hanger in it so you could use them as Christmas ornaments. I was like, this would be a great idea. So I did it, and I ended up with them very firmly glued together. So I couldn't pry them apart. I couldn't do anything about it except for heat the hell out of it with a torch. And once I got that done, I could pry it open, and you can see all sorts of scratch and scuff marks on the inside of it even. And yeah, then I had to actually melt the resin with a torch to get my mold back, and it has never shot the same since. But don't do that. Just don't. Learn from me. They say you can do it, and they did it, but I think it really depends on what kind of resin you're using. They didn't really specify. I should have looked into it more. That's my whining, my bitching, crying complaint of the day, is my 3-inch is not the same as it used to be. So, sorry about that. I kind of went off on a tangent. So let's go and add up the scores. We got a 7, 8, 7, 9, 6. Add those up, take the average of 5, and overall we give this a score of 7.4. You're going to be asking, well, that's not a bad score, but it's not a great score. Do I buy it? Buy it used. If you can, I take that back. You might not ever be able to find it used. If you are a walleye fisherman, walleye, saugeye, smallmouth, mainly walleye, saugeye, and you want to make baits for yourself, yeah, jump on this one. It's, don't buy 2, 3, 4 of them. It's just not worth it. But if you want one for yourself, yes. If you want it for business, probably not, because take it from me, they don't sell. I don't know why. I've had them on my Etsy store. I've clearanced them on my Etsy store at one time, clear down to $2.50 a bag, and I couldn't get rid of them. I ended up actually donating a lot of them. In fact, I'm debating on pulling them from my lineup altogether, just because they are not productive as far as sales. So if you're looking to buy the mold to sell the baits, don't take it from me. Don't do it unless you have a tackle shop or a bait shop owner that's specifically looking for something like this. Not worth it. You're gonna get sold out by somebody selling Kitech knockoffs for those ring swim baits, because they're going to be using those for their A rigs and things of that nature, or just as standalone jigs such as this. They don't make a very good trailer for much. I tried it with a chatterbait, thinking maybe chatterbait trailer, small spitter baits, but it's really just meant best to have a plain jig head on it. So anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry about that. If you're going to get it for a business, no, don't do it. Shame on you. Shame on me for doing it. If you want it for yourself and you just want to make a lot of baits because you love the design and love the way it swims, which I do, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and pick it up. If you can get it used, more power to you, because $160 is a lot for a small 3-cavity bait. Anyway, I thank you for watching. Again, I'm not paid by anybody. I'm not affiliated with anyone. I do not, I don't get any money for doing this. I just want people to have informed information or good information out there to make an informed decision. So anyway, again, thanks for watching. Don't subscribe. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. But thanks for watching, and we'll get to you next week without any more Preybaits. We're done. We're done with them all. From here on, we go into some strange stuff, which is good. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.